Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Biz, and I'm making some of my first War of the Ring videos. I don't know how common of a thing this will be, but I've played a few rounds in the tourney so far, and I've had a very good time, lots of great games against great opponents. For those of you who don't know who I'm talking about, I'll include a link to the War of the Ring Discord server in the description. It's a great community. I would definitely recommend checking it out if you find any of this nonsense interesting. The rest of you, I'm going to assume you're knowing what I'm talking about. This is game one of round one between myself and Xxander. I'm gonna pronounce it as Xxander. If it is anything else, I apologize. Just correct me and let me know, and I'll fix that for game two. Xxander was a great opponent to play. We had different time zones, but we were able to coordinate pretty well to find a time. And this is our round one game. I started off as Shadow, and we're going to see how this goes. So you can see my starting cards. I have half-orcs and goblin men, and dreadful spells. Nothing crazy. At least half-orcs is usually playable. I don't know what they have, and we're going to see. I do zero eyes. I'm a proponent of zero eyes in most situations, and this is definitely one of them. I don't have any cards to suggest anything else. And I roll Mihi. So I roll 4 eyes. I forgot about this. I have not touched this game since finishing it. Game 2 was kind of what I would consider the crazier game, so it's the one I remember more. But I forgot that I did roll 4 eyes in round 1. And they rolled this. I got my 2 musters, so I'm happy about that. And they start us off. And they play Grimbjorn. That's an interesting move. Normally, I like to save my Grimbjorn for the scouts into Old Forest Road. But if it's your only playable card, I think that this is a perfectly defensible move. You can get into Old Forest Road, maybe you'll draw another scouts, maybe you won't, but it's definitely intimidating. As they get there, and they get to redraw a strategy card. I get Isengard, yeah. I definitely want Saruman. They start mustering Rohan. That's interesting. Normally I would do elves first, but I think Rohan can make sense in some situations. I get Saruman because there's no chance of them getting Gandalf. They move, and I hit. I rolled 4 eyes. It's nice to hit. And I roll 9. So that's pretty useful. They decide to take Gandalf. Taking Gandalf is pretty reasonable there. I did get Saruman. At the same time, it does mean corruption is on the table. So, just something to think about. They reveal where they should, and I just do some standard setup moves, and they hide the Fellowship. Pretty reasonable turn 1. The fact that I got a 1 reveal really makes this not too bad of a turn for me. Moving on to the next turn, I get Shelob and Threats and Promises. Threats and Promises is a very stinky card, but it does make me think, okay, I need to use half-orcs, I need to use these North Dunland guys, and I need to go somewhere so I can get these Devil Reavor things out of my hand. They draw 2 cards, I do 1 eye, and I get this roll. What's interesting about this roll is there's no musters, so I cannot attack with Sauron. Because I didn't muster him turn 1. I think it's definitely right to get Saruman turn 1. So, it's just sometimes you're a little slow like this. But they only roll 1 movement and they roll 0 wills. So, all in all, not terrible for me. They start out by passing. I send out the Nazgul. That's interesting. When I get a hit this early, when I reveal them this early, I start to view corruption as a viable path, and in this case, yeah, why not? Let's put some corruption pressure on them, maybe get a reveal into Moria. We'll see. And I move over here. Presumably I plan to do something with that. Let's see how that goes. They play Kindred. Pretty good card to play. It does make Rivendell pretty much off the table. But I think at this time, I'm planning on doing the classic Elven pincer. And yep, I'm moving as if I'm doing that. I'm moving again as if I'm doing that. Um, they move. I hit them with the Nazgul. Nice job, Nazgul. It's very important. I think this is an important thing to do, is to compliment your Nazgul when they get you hits. Positive reinforcement is an important part of doing well at this game. And I'm noticing that I actually move my Nazgul away from high pass so I can have leadership in both these armies. I think that's reasonable. If this prompts them to go high pass, I'm reasonably happy because it's just longer. And I think in base it's generally worse for free people. I play Shelob now. They draw a strategy card, and I play half orcs. Okay. That's reasonable. So I'm gonna probably just get these reinforcements from Moria and be good to go. They play Spirit of Mortar. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, because I have a valid target for Spirit of Mordor. I think it's probably better to get these guys in Old Forest Road. You don't know when you're going to roll Hybrid next, and getting these guys here means that they can be helpful in Woodland Realm, at the very least damaging this army if I get 3 hits. You could probably save this for after I besiege Lorien. I feel like it's a bit early to play it. But they play it, and they get 3 hits, which can't argue with that, right? I kill 3, so this army is pretty pathetic at this point. But, and that is the other reason, though, that I would kind of recommend waiting on it. Because now I know, okay, I might need to muster, I might need to bring more, because this army needs some help. And I move up. Next turn, I'm going to use my army movements to merge up here and move these guys at the same time. I have the Elven Pincer plan. I can always go through Dale if they block Old Forest Road. I get Corsairs. Amazing draw. I have many musters before I'm ready to Corsairs, but it's just a card you're always happy to see. They declare in Holland, so they were not deterred by Nazgul. They're going through Moria. That's okay, but it does mean I get to use my Nazgul efficiently, which is nice. Oh, and I didn't mention, I drew Foul Thing. Very important for the Moria move. This could be big. They get a will. They think, and they get Gandalf. Potentially, you could wait, but there's no real reason to wait, I think. I'm kind of already committed, so I'm going to go up whether you have Book or Bizarrable or not. It does give me information, though. I get Sauron to War. Oh, I flip Gandalf for him. Yeah, we gotta have Gandalf the White, not Gandalf the Gray. They're thinking, I wonder what they have. Oh, I recruit. Okay, this is interesting. I could try and rush forward for the Witch King, but I think I saw what happened with Spirit of Mordor. I want to get more guys, so I'm going to send in all of these guys. I'm going to get up to Old Forest Road. They don't have a hybrid. I think this is reasonable. Trying to rush the Witch King, which potentially I could try doing. Although it would kind of be out of my control. It would depend on how they move and whatnot. I think it's better just to have a stronger attack on Lorien, which is what I'm focusing on. And I'm getting my guys ready. They muster the elves. Reasonable. And they ring move. Okay, yeah, I think ring moving is reasonable here. Especially if you don't have playable cards. It is unfortunate for them. They've rolled such low movement. Nope, they're ring... Ah, I see. Okay. They're ring hybriding. Alright. If they have a scouts, they should definitely do that. I attack Dale. They do no card. And I miss. I'm sad. And they draw a card. And I attack Lorien. Okay, yeah, I'm getting a move on. So I use their ring right away to just make progress. These guys, I'm not going to care that much about. They cannot yet hybrid in. And we're on to next turn. I get musterings, and the ring is mine. Perfectly desperate is great to have early. They draw. I have to wait for them to discard. And we get these rolls. Man, I do wonder. I ring moved into Lorien. I wonder about just playing Foul Thing. I think that might have been better. Because now they move right away. Oh, and the Nazgul is really doing well. I get a 2. That's awesome. Now I play Foul Thing and I get an eye. Funny, funny. They move again, and I miss this time. I attack Woodland Realm, which puts the North and Elves to war. And I do a weird little split to make it so they can't just walk into Dale. They're thinking. They get Rohan down. Okay. I do think Rohan is probably going to be a target this game, so it makes sense. I wonder about mustering Carrick or... yeah, it's kind of hard to decide what to do with these musters. Carrick might not actually ever come to anything. Get the Witch King and Lorien. I feel maybe... Well, because they didn't muster in Carrick, there's no rush to take Woodland. There's more rush to take Lorien before Power 2 Great comes in, before Celeborns come in. So, yeah, this makes sense to me. I'm going to cycle my Devilries, get those pieces of crap out of my hand, and then maybe deal with Rohan. What do? They pass, I attack Lorien, play my Devilry, they play Daylight. That's pretty good on my end. If I can make them use a Daylight on this piece of trash card, I'm pretty happy. I get 1 hit. That's about what you expect. They miss. Unfortunate for them. I'm pressing. Do I play a card? Yes, I play Desperate Battle. Okay. So I wanted them to try and counter me the first round, so I played my weaker card. And now I'm playing a stronger card that I don't want countered in Desperate Battle. So Desperate Battle can get me a decent number of hits. I might be able to take this out in 1 round. I get 3 hits. Yeah. They get 2 back, but now I'm definitely pressing, and I don't finish it out. They're dodging. I press, and I get my 6. And they get a hit back. I kill an Eisenhower regular. But yeah, that's really what I needed to happen. I needed to take them out in 1 attack, and that's exactly what I did. So I'm pretty pleased at this point. I move my Nazgul. I just completely give up on dealing with this. I'm thinking I'm considering Dreadful Spells. Yeah, that's an interesting play. This army is annoying, and the army in Woodland is pretty annoying. So there's plenty of reasons to play Dreadful Spells. They're moving out. Okay, they're threatening military. That's not crazy. It does rob me of an attack. I have to muster now, or else lose points. And I don't think I can afford to give up Dogolder like this early in the game. I think that's a really bad situation for me. So I'm pretty sure... Oh, I was confused what I was doing. Yeah, I just mustered them in a weird way. I just cover Moria, cover Dogolder. At this point, if they want to, like, ring besiege me or go after me with the elves or whatever, then I'm perfectly happy. I don't need any more investment than this. But I should do the bare minimum to make sure that they don't just easily get points. They play Dine, and I play Dreadful Spells, yeah. You know, this siege in Woodland Realm is not a guarantee. Let's help it out. And I miss, yeah. That's Dreadful Spells for you. It's okay, it's not the end of the world. But obviously I wanted to hit. I'm complaining. I'm a complainer. I'll do it. Let's see. I roll 1 eye. They roll a really nice movement roll. But I look at a roll like this, and I see a real deficiency in Free People action economy. They have no hybrids. They have will, but these guys in Rohan are not ready, and I have a bunch of musters and a bunch of character dice. So I think I'm going to see it and go after Helm's Deep. Certainly, if I were playing this right now, that's exactly what I would do. They move the Fellowship. I miss. I attack Woodland. I can still do that. It's a Deadly Strife against Heroic Death. Yeah, I don't want to mess around. I just want them dead before anything can happen with Dale, with this North Army. I just want them dead. And they give up Nair's another way. I don't know. On the one hand, you don't really want that clogging up your hand for the entire game. On the other, it's still pretty early. You don't know which way Corruption's going to go. This could help you a lot. So, I think I would hang on to this. Regardless, I get 4 hits, so it actually saves them a round of combat. I get 3 back, and yeah, I just decide to go down to 4 regulars so I can press. Because I want to do this in one action, and I play Great Host. Give me automatic, and now, it's going to be difficult for me to do anything offensively with these armies. They're kind of just stuck here for a while, but they've pretty definitively conquered Woodland Realm and Dale, and it's going to take a lot of dice from the free people to do anything about that. I'm moving my Nazgul around. Oh, okay. So I guess what I'm planning instead is muster the Southron's, move here, attack Delamroth. That's fine. I can make use out of that. I feel like I'm missing a chance here to do something with Orthanc, because that could have been... I still have Delamroth in my back pocket for later, and I can get a cheap Helm's Deep or a Ring, and that's really good. We prove the Swifter, so they move Gimli over, so that's scary. I'm getting the Southlands down, and they play Book of Mazarvel, so that's really scary. Very nice play. Yeah, this is a huge problem for me. They can now attack Dale and potentially retake Woodland Realm. So this is really good play. It is kind of taking away some movement directly. I don't know if they wanted to move 3 times this turn, but if I'm reading this right, they're probably going to attack Dale and Muster, so they're only moving 1 time this turn. But if they can retake Woodland Realm, and especially if they can get going before these Easterlings come in, then that is well worth a lost movement. So yeah, this is a really good and creative play. They attack Dale, they play a Valor, pretty good. They get 1 hit, I get 1 hit. They press, and they're thinking about it. They do that. Okay. This feels a little like giving up on retaking Woodland Realm, because now I think eventually I'm just going to come in and have reinforcements. Nope. They weren't done. Okay. Gimli's going there. Yeah, Gimli should go there. Gimli gives you a better chance. And now these guys can meet up with these guys. You can muster in Dale. You can still defend Erebor with more Dwarven elites. So yeah, this is a good play. This is a really good play. I continue with my plan though, and they move. So yeah, they didn't muster. They're saving their musters for next turn. And they're not really sacrificing that much movement because they probably didn't want to move that much against 2 eyes and a reroll. But I hit. It's Boromir. Nice random. I'm mustering up in Southrune. Yeah, that's a sensible place to put this. Again, I feel like Orthanc is pretty good too. They still haven't gotten into Westonnet, so this is still vulnerable. But, I got my plan. And play Corsairs. Okay. Really nothing else for me to play. I could play Ring is Mine. But, I did all this setup. I might as well get it going. We'll look high and lower the ring. And we take a break. Then when we get back, I roll. This is a good roll. I'm getting some nice rolls. I'm going to see... Hopefully this displays for you if I show... Anyway, you'll have to believe me at this point. I'm down on 6s, but I'm up on Muster's army dice. Character dice? Down on hybrids, though. They're also down on 6s, so we've both been bad at hitting this game. And I haven't really felt being down on 6s. I feel like I've had decent combat luck. I've been able to do what I want to do. The only issue with that is this Dale situation. Let's see, they hide the Fellowship. They don't want to deal with Day Without Dawn. Yeah, the game has gotten a little more complicated. Gimli has single-handedly changed this game. They play no card to my Swarm of Bats. Swarm of Bats gives me 2 hits. I'm happy to see that. And I just press, and miss, and press, and I finally get my hit. So, DA has been conquered. I'm at 6 points. It's a bit of a soft 6 points. I'm definitely scared for Woodland Realm's life. But, having 3 strongholds is nothing to scoff at. I'm mustering up again, and I think my thinking here, is just, let's just go up. They don't have that many musters. Go up on and sit on Dale, and maybe Erebor, before they can do much about it. They moved to Westonnet and back to Old Forest Road. I moved my Nazgul, okay. They move, so I definitely would have moved first before hybriding. I wasn't mustering, so there wasn't a real rush to hybrid. And now I got a reroll on them. Didn't matter in this case, but still relevant. Okay, no, I like my idea. Oh, they're going to they're going here. I wonder if you needed these guys, but I guess they don't have any musters, so I can take out Dale at the very least right now. And I get to sit on the Fellowship, and here I am threatening Edoras and Helm's Deep. They use hybrid to defend Erebor and Dale. Okay. I attack Westonnet. Yeah, if they don't have a scouts here, I might be able to deal like 2 to 3 hits to this, and then they're really in trouble. They have to give up a movement to defend Helm's Deep. So yeah, this is a reasonable gamble. But they play Confusion. I don't get any hits, and they get 2. So I'm upset. These guys are not doing anything, and Rohan's at war. I miss again. I use a ring to attack Dale. Yeah, I want to get Dale under siege. And I just get 3 hits, so very nice. And I'm redrawing. I got Shadows. Could be a decent reinforcement card. But basically how the whole situation at Do has worked out is they made me spend a bunch of dice, but I managed to subdue Do, and I'm going to keep these 3 points, almost certainly. They might be able to retake Dale at the very end of the game, but they certainly cannot take Woodland Realm. So that's nice. And I get the mouth. So that is a large part of the reason why I went after Rohan as I did. Getting the mouth this early is really nice. Potentially 2 turns early, maybe 3. So yeah, he can do. I'm going to have a significant dice advantage, and yeah, I'm only at 7 points. But I really just need 1 more stronghold, and I'm looking pretty. So I'm wondering how I'm going to get that. Get Nazgul Strike. That is pretty useful. That's where the Fellowship is right now. What do I get rid of here? I might get rid of Shadows in the Misty Mountains. I tend to value cards like Handles of Corpses pretty highly. I could get rid of Lure of the Ring, too. I think Lure of the Ring is probably the right card. And I get rid of Shadows in the Misty Mountains. Okay, yeah. I'm not attacking Rivendell because they already have 3 elites there, and they have more they can muster. That is sensible. I'm just going to leave Rivendell alone. I already have a guy here. I'm not worried about them in Moria. So, yeah, makes sense. They go to Osgiliath. I roll 2 eyes. They move the Fellowship. I hit and reveal them, so no Nazgul Strike for me, sadly. I play Lure of the Ring. Okay, that's interesting. I think I'm shifting to a Corruption focus. This is sensible, although I'm at 7 points. The last 2 points in particular, the last Stronghold, is going to be really tricky. So, I don't hate this. And I draw Strider. That is a lucky draw. That is a very lucky draw. Now, granted, if I hit Legolas, it would also be pretty good. But at this point, they just kill him. Yeah, I don't think that that's crazy. Of course, now they have to use a ring to get into Mordor, which is their last ring, which puts them in a very awkward position for Mordor. But getting up to 7 corruption, that hurts. Especially because... Oh, I thought I was going to play Candles of Corpses. I guess I just want to get Erebor controlled and prevent them from mustering up there. That makes sense. They mustered... They pass. Now I play Candles of Corpses. So now... I completely whiff. Average of 1.5. I miss. I did get Strider for Lure of the Ring, so I acknowledge here, between those 2 actions, yeah, you win some, you lose some. It about evens out. Corruption is still a threat, and I have Nazgul Strike. So, I'm mustering... They play Mithril, which is super sad for them. I'm mustering again. Oh, I guess I'm going for Erebor. I didn't see this on the... initially, but I kind of get it. They, yes, they obviously have this big army in Erebor, but they already played Dine, so it's not getting any bigger. Yes, they have a companion, but I can just muster 1 billion times and then go stomp on it and probably take Polargear, and that's 10. So, I think that this is a reasonable strategy. I'm going to come in with, a 4/6. And Gimli can do a lot, but that is a lot of HP, and I can bring in more from Woodland Realm. So, yeah, I think that this is reasonable. I didn't see it right away, but sometimes, you don't necessarily need to attack where 3 people is weak. You just need to attack where you can beat them. And in this case, I think I can beat them. The situation is just so simplified, right? Like, if you look at Rohan, I could try to go for it. I could muster up here and go for it. But the time for it to be easy is kind of past. They're going to cause problems. Who knows? I mean, their army might escape and go to Lorien. All kinds of things that happen. Here, the only thing that can happen is they have to slowly muster up in Carrick and then come over. And I've gone to bed. So, yeah, and, they don't have Strider, so... even if I don't necessarily win next turn, I have pretty good chances. And corruption is a factor. Okay, I'm moving out now. Yeah, that makes sense. I want to preserve my chances of winning next turn, and this does a pretty good job of that, because it means I need 1 attack to take Polargear, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, like a minimum of 4 attacks to take out Erebor. Probably more. I probably want to take it slow. But I do have Volakai, so that fills it up as well. And it's We Come to Kill. So, yeah, that's another reason this is a good strategy. We Come to Kill. So in the end, I wish I'd gone for Rohan earlier this game, but I think this is a pretty good plan to win. And they don't go for Mordor. Yeah, I think that's a huge mistake. They are just not fast enough at this point. And corruption's going to be scary if they go to Mordor. It's going to be scary that they give me a ring. I know I have Nazgul Strike, so I can kill Mithril Coat. But if you look at the board state, they cannot hold me off for 2 more turns. So they need to get into Mordor, they need to hold me off for 1 turn, and they need to dung in Mordor in 2 turns. That is by far their best path to victory. And it is achievable. I'd say I have the edge if they do that, but it is something they can do. With this, they I don't really see a path for them to win. I need to have some catastrophic roll. And I was honestly expecting them, so I saved a character die for Nozzle Strike. Instead, I just put in a red tile. Oh, they forgot. Okay, yeah, I don't have to do this. But I say it's okay. You forgot. You can ring move. Wow, man, that is very nice of me. Um, damn, I forgot that this happened. Wow. So they're gonna ring move in. I mean, but I think it's the right thing to do. I mean, yes, um, I would love to basically get a guaranteed win, which them not getting into Mordor would be pretty close to that. Um, but they, just because they spaced for one moment doesn't shouldn't define their entire tournament. I think it is they clearly planned. Like I thought they were going to ring move the entire turn. I was basing all of my actions around the assumption they're going to ring move, and um, I think that they probably meant to, and then they just forgot about it. And it's you are technically allowed to say no. You cleared the die. But I think the actual course of events, how things happened, I tend to play quick. I like to just go, 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 whip out my turns. So I think what actually happened is they cleared their die. I played my die. Within a few seconds, I had my card on the table, and then they said wait. So the whole thing was like 5 seconds after they cleared their die. So, I think from my perspective, if I were them and I was in that situation, I would want I would think my opponent should let me take it back. So I think that it is the right etiquette in this case to allow them to move. Um, your opinions may vary. I mean, it is a clear die. The rules of the tournament state that if you clear a die, it's over. But I think that what is technically the rules and what is right are two different things. Anyway, I get a 1, which is perfect. I didn't want to hit them. And they draw Mary, which is nice. But I Nozzle Strike, and I kill Mithril. So now they're in a ton of trouble. Um, I maybe could have hit them going into Mordor, and that also could have been bad. But the truth is, Mithril is just so nice for them to avoid reveals and reds. Um, and this is a way to just easily get rid of it and potentially do a lot of damage on the back end. Yeah, ouch. Uh, so anyway, they're in Mordor, which, again, I kind of think they should be. I think that that's right. And I get um, another We Come to Kill. So I have 2 We Come to Kills to slap down an Erebor. So I'm feeling really good at this point. They get some cards, and I roll this. We can count up the number of attacks. I already have the mouth. That happened a long time ago. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attacks with a ring. And I have the potential to play something like Day Without Dawn and the Ring is Mine. And maybe an Olakai. So this is, it's not the prettiest looking roll in the world, but this is actually totally fine for trying to win this turn. It's a good move. And they get a ton of wills. They're moving. Okay, so they're preparing for the defense of Pelargir, which makes sense to me. And I play Day Without Dawn. Normally, I don't play Day Without Dawn for 1 will. Most of the time, sometimes I will, but in this instance, it makes sense, right? There's a number of things I don't want them doing with that will. I don't want them hybrid moving in, or mustering more guys, and I don't want them moving. And if they, with how things currently stand, they're probably going to muster in here, and then they only move twice, and if they get revealed, they're only moving once, and then the chances of them dunking next turn are pretty slim. So, yeah, taking away this one die really restricts their ability to do much. I'm happy to trade one of my dice for one of theirs, and I have 2 combat cards I'm very happy to play. They move the Fellowship. Fortunately for them, it is not a reveal. So they're moving along, they don't have any... Okay, I put in my red. I definitely needed to play Day Without Dawn first. As I was saying, they don't have any rings, so again, I still feel pretty good about them not dunking next turn, but they need to dodge reds and reveals, and so they've started that. Let's see if they can finish it. Wondering about that. They're worried about me coming in with the mouth. That's not crazy. That is definitely a thing I can do, but they play Kieran's. And yeah, I'm just marching. Okay, this is where, arguably, it's a little fancy. Potentially, I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then attack Blargir, and not rely on Erebor, which is a little, like, it's not 100%. It's certainly not 100%. But my thinking is, I have both Hill Trolls and Olokai in hand. Probably going to play Hill Trolls for combat effect and save Olokai. I'm going to try to kill Erebor, and then with my other die, I'm going to take Edoras. And they don't have any rings, so there's actually no way that they can possibly reinforce Edoras. So a 2-1 is going to win against a 1 90% plus of the time. And that way I don't have to do a potentially crazy fight in Blargir. This does bet on me taking Erebor, but I think in terms of bets, it's a pretty good one. I have a really nice We Come to Kill. I have 3 attacks. No, I have 2 attacks to do it. 3 if I give up Olokai. But I think I'm just going to try and do it in 2. And yeah, I think this is a reasonable path. They try to reinforce Edoras with these guys, but unfortunately they can't because there's no leader. And this is again why Day Without Dawn was so impactful. It eliminated their ability to do something like this. So they just move the Fellowship. I get a 3. They choose to reveal. I don't agree with that. Just because you're basically betting on me not winning this turn, which is not crazy, but it is possible. And then you need to dunk next turn, and you need to have 3 movement rolled. With this, you need to have 4 movement rolled, because you need to hide 2. And just, I think the odds of me winning next turn are so crazy high. Yeah, there's stuff they can do, but I can send more reinforcements to Erebor if that goes south. I could split in their attention and go for Minas Tirith, or come in from Orthanc. I think I'm going to win next turn if I don't win this turn. So, even though Corruption is starting to look a little scary, it's better to be at 6 Corruption with a chance of winning than 5 Corruption with no chance. I attack Erebor. I play We Come to Kill against Brave Stand. Very happy with that card combination. We Come to Kill is such a beautiful card in existence. How often do you get to play it with 5 elites when it's not Isengard units? So, good job, Mumakil. You're really taking it to him. Let's see. I get 2 hits. Great result against Brave Stand. They get 1 hit. And then I get 1 post. Pretty lucky first round for me. Now, with my 5 post dice, as well as this, I don't think 3 hits is crazy for me, but 1 is certainly low for them. And it's so bad that I just press. I would like to take this somewhat slowly. Like, you never know what's going to happen here, but the first round went so well. I'm going to test the waters with the press and see how it goes. And I draw a Deadly Strife. So that is an instant play. They have a shield wall. And I roll 4 minus 1. So they survive because of shield wall. And I press. I'm just playing no card. They play Mighty Attack, but I get my 6. So there goes Erebor. And I move my Nazgul. So this is a kind of funny combination of things. I put the Witch King here. And I put 3 Nazgul here because I don't know. If something goes wrong, I don't want to lose the Witch King. And I try and move the Nows, but I actually... No, this is actually illegal. I can't bring the Mouth here. So the Mouth should be in Druidane. That is my bad. They're really sad. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I miss, and I hit. And that's the end of the game. So, pretty interesting game. They had some good defenses up and due. And Rohan just stopped me cold for a while. But I did draw Corsairs. I took care of the 2 elves. And this is an interesting thing that happened. You see it sometimes in Minas Tirith and Helm's Deep, where, and Lorien, where free people are really well defended. They have a lot of stuff. But it just doesn't matter, because Shadow can just drown them in a sea of bodies. And if you have enough time to do that, it can be a good strategy. Just, you don't have to overcomplicate it. I didn't have to do some crazy move where I, pivoted to a sneak attack on Grey Havens, right? I just had to muster and grind it out. And that's exactly what I did. I am a little curious if they would have done it next turn. Without the reveal, maybe? These tiles don't reveal them anymore. But they basically need to dodge reveals in reds, which is pretty unlikely. But they did have a chance next turn, so it was very important I got this done. I like getting the Mouth early, even though this was technically an illegal move. Hopefully that doesn't invalidate my tournament life. He didn't matter at all. He could have gone to Druidane, but I just miscounted, so that's my bad. Yeah, pretty standard Shadow win overall. I like getting them out early, that's fun. So I hope you enjoyed. That's round 1. Round 2 is a game where I played as the Free People, and that one goes crazy. It's one of the best games I've played, and it just so happened it's fighting for my life in the tournament. So that'll be my next video. I hope you have enjoyed this one. This will be just a short series going over the tournament. I think it's cool. There's so many games in round 1 and 2, which you just look at the bracket and you say, wow, 2-0, 2-1, and that's the end of the story. But each individual matchup in this tournament has some sort of craziness going on in it and some sort of story. And this is just one of the stories. But until next time, I hope you have a good day, and good luck.